deliver consistent high purity quality food.
Malaysian-focused gold explorer Besra Gold has inked a game-changing agreement, entering into a term sheet with its major shareholder for a long-term funding facility of US $300 million. Now, these are not numbers you associate with microcaps, with Besra capped at 17 million Australian, which highlights the enormity of this development. For more on the facility, I'm joined by Besra CEO, Ray Shaw. Ray, first of all, congratulations. This is a major achievement for the company. Can you just take us through the key details of this facility and how did it materialise?
Well, thank you, Alex. Very much appreciate the opportunity to be able to share this announcement with your viewers. Obviously, this facility, once approved, will remove a major millstone which dogs many junior explorers seeking to transition from pre-development to commercial production. Clearly, the support of Quantum, our largest shareholder, is very, very comforting. And I would say that because Quantum has as its principals major successful Malaysian business people, it also impacts on the perception in the marketplace of our ability to successfully execute our objectives within the Malay jurisdiction, which is where our assets are based. I cannot overemphasize at this time the importance of this facility. As many of your audience will be aware, it is becoming increasingly difficult, if not impossible, for junior miners to obtain project finance and conditional on traditional terms. Often ceilings are 50% or less, and the balance has to be made up most likely by equity raisings, which, as we all know, are extremely highly dilutive. So under the current circumstances, this is why we consider the funding to be a complete game changer. Obviously, once the funding is in place, we'll be focusing our resources on the social, technical and environmental aspects of our most mature project at Juukan, where we'll be seeking to progress that through to commercial production. Juukan was previously the subject of a pre-feasibility study and will be progressing to a final feasibility stage study at Juukan, and we are waiting at the moment for an EIA to be approved to construct a pilot plant.
Okay, Ray, so now that funding has essentially been secured, pending negotiation and approval, what are the other perceived risks to the project in your view?
The other perceived risks to the project are those normally encountered in a progressing any mining project through to a commercial operation. So they're essentially the technical aspects, which will be fine-tuning prior to the final feasibility stage, in addition to resolving those other ESG matters relating to impacts on environmental, social, outlining social benefits, community benefits, liaison with local community, etc. So all those things now can be somewhat fast-tracked on the basis that we will have the knowledge of substantial funding to be able to push those ahead without having to go back to shareholders for further funds.
Thanks, Ray. So assuming the company enters into the funding facility, can you give us a bit of an overview of how the capital will be deployed towards project development?
Yes, thanks, Alex. The capital initially, as I mentioned, will be spent on our most advanced project at Juukan, where we have a JORC resource of some 960,000 ounces. The followers of Besra will be aware in our announcements last year relating to the last round of core drilling. Those results have indicated that we've very much got a standalone open pit operation with mineralisation from surface. Our feasibility studies, our expenditure will focus on the leveraging that comprehensive pre-feasibility study that was completed in 2013 and progressing to a final decision for commercial development in the shorter term. In addition, we'll also be extending our activities, funding our activities on our pipeline of other projects within the Bau corridor.
And finally, Ray, you've also mentioned the funding will allow Besra to pursue pre-development assessment of other mineral deposits within the Bau Goldfield corridor. What work has been undertaken to delineate these targets and what kind of potential do you see in the region?
Yes, well, thanks for that question, Alex. It raises a few important points about this funding facility. Firstly, the funding facility is a facility for the entirety of the project area. And this simply reflects the fact that Quantum and Besra have a lot of confidence in the upside potential of the Bau corridor, with an exploration target of an additional 4.9 to 9.3 million ounces on top of the 3 million ounces of resources we currently carry. This means that the funding is not specifically earmarked to one project. So funds will, of course, be initially focused on the Juukan project. We'll also be undertaking work at the same time at Penjuru and at Bekajang. So your listeners will be aware of the fact that Bekajang, late last year, we made some announcements of some shallow, high-grade, bonanza-grade mineralisation intercepted below the traditional, what referred to as the limestone shale contact. Follow-up drilling is currently underway there and will continue to pursue that. Additionally, at Penjuru, which is another major project on the Bau corridor with approximately 1 million ounces of open pit potential, we will be following up with drilling and further feasibility studies in parallel with what we are doing at Juukan. Essentially, what we're doing at the moment, we'll be able to do is, with this funding, is ramp up our pipeline of opportunities so that we can, in due course, be able to multiply develop the full mineral resource along the Bau corridor.
Thanks, Ray. Really appreciate your time. Again, congratulations on the facility and all the best.
Thank you, Alex.